The night before June 6, 1944, across the gray waters of the English Channel, a wall of concrete and wire waits. In the dark, thousands of men in Feldgrau stare into the sea. They have trained, dug, and watched for years. Now they wait for something they no longer believe will come. The Atlantic Wall, Hitler's promise of an unbreakable fortress, stretches from Norway to the Bay of Biscay. On its beaches stand gun casements, mines, and machine gun nests. Behind them, tired divisions from Russia, wounded veterans, and young recruits. To them, the invasion is a rumor, a bluff meant to drain their strength. In Normandy, the 352nd Infantry Division holds the sector near Omaha. Major Werner Pluskat checks his maps in a bunker near La Porte du Hoc. His radar screen is quiet. Reports from Calais still claim enemy ships massing in the Dover Strait. The generals believe that is the real target. Midnight passes. The wind from the channel carries mist and the distant hum of engines. Pluskat listens. The sound is faint but growing, a deep vibration, not thunder, not surf. At 00:15, radar posts on the Cote-of-Con Peninsula pick up hundreds of contacts, not ships, planes. The 1st paratroopers of the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions are crossing the coast. Searchlights claw the sky. Flak bursts above the fields of Sainte-Mère-Église. The German defenders fire blindly, unaware that the largest invasion in history has begun. At Army headquarters in Saint-Lô, telephones ring non-stop. Reports are contradictory. Landings at Cherbourg, paratroopers near Carentan, commandos at Caen. Field Marshal Rommel, responsible for coastal defense, is in Germany visiting his wife. He had believed the weather too harsh for an attack. Now his army faces it without him. 02:30. Rain falls over the beaches. In the dark, concrete bunker at Pointe du Hoc, artillery crews load 155mm shells and stare at the horizon. The sea is invisible. They hear nothing but wind and surf. Then a whisper through the radio. Massive formation approaching. Dawn approaches. Every pair of eyes along the coast turns seaward. The mist thickens. The defenders wait behind their guns, hearts beating fast but steady. In the brief silence before daybreak, they wonder, is this another false alarm? The clock strikes 4:30. The horizon begins to glow. The mist thins, and through it, shadows. Hundreds of them, then thousands. A fleet unlike anything the German soldiers have ever seen. It stretches from east to west as far as the eye can reach. The Atlantic Channel is no longer water, it is steel. The first shells land. Fire tears the dawn apart. Batteries at Long-sur-Mer and Crisbec open fire, their guns shaking the cliffs. The defenders of Normandy, outnumbered and unprepared, are about to meet the storm they had waited for since 1941. 04:50. The first landing craft break the horizon. From the German bunkers, they look like tiny boxes sliding across the water. But the soldiers know better. They know what these boxes carry. Men, weapons, tanks, the full weight of the Allied assault. At Omaha Beach, the 352nd Infantry Division braces. Machine guns rattle. Mortars fire into the surf. The first American troops leap into the cold, churning waves. They are met with a wall of fire. Concrete pillboxes vomit lead. Barbed wire tangles their legs. Mines explode beneath their boots. Lieutenant Hans Schneider, commanding a forward machine gun nest near Vierville-sur-Mer, watches the chaos. He has fired at training targets, at paratroopers in exercises. Now the real enemy is alive, moving, screaming, and advancing. Bullets tear through sandbags. The smell of cordite, blood, and seaweed fills the air. Every defender is shouting, pointing, firing. Orders are lost in the roar. The Americans struggle to reach the relative safety of the seawall. Some succeed, many fall. German soldiers reload, shout coordinates, and call in artillery. The officers try to maintain control, but panic seeps through the ranks. The men have trained for defense, not for the scale of this assault. At Long-sur-Mer Battery, 150mm guns blaze across the water. Ships explode, landing craft are torn apart. From the cliffs above, German observation posts track the incoming waves. The men are exhausted, but adrenaline sharpens their aim. Every shot counts, every pause costs lives. Meanwhile, paratroopers dropped behind the lines create chaos. Roads are blocked with debris, vehicles are abandoned in ditches, and telephone lines are cut. German reinforcements already delayed are further slowed by confusion and terrain. Supply trucks are ambushed, ammunition dwindles, and the chain of command begins to fray. By early morning, the beachhead grows. The Allies, despite heavy losses, establish footholds. The German defenders realize this is no raid. This is the invasion they had prepared for, but the scale is unprecedented. They fire relentlessly, but every wave of attackers seems larger, more coordinated. Major Pluscat, now on the cliffs near Omaha, radios reports to higher command. His voice shakes not with fear, but with the weight of impossible odds. Enemy landing in force, beach partially secured, heavy resistance, reinforcements requested. The reply is delayed. Orders from Rommel's absent command trickle through slowly. By mid-morning, tanks begin to land. Artillery positions are targeted with naval gunfire. German guns fall silent under the pounding of the Allied fleet. The defenders cling to trenches and pillboxes, fighting with desperate efficiency. Every man knows retreat is costly. Every man knows surrender is shame. Every man knows the Allies will not stop. Omaha Beach is a furnace. Smoke and flame mingle with the Atlantic mist. German soldiers fight valiantly, yet slowly, inexorably, the tide turns. The invaders push inland, inch by bloody inch. The Atlantic wall, once a symbol of unbreakable strength, begins to crumble under fire and determination. By noon, the beach is no longer fully under German control. Some pockets of resistance remain, isolated and battered. The defenders regroup, dig in, and try to mount counterattacks, but the Allies' numerical superiority and coordination make this near impossible. The morning ends with both sides bloodied, exhausted, and aware that Normandy will not be taken easily. For the German soldiers, the realization is bitter. The Atlantic Wall has failed in its purpose to hold the invaders at the shore. Afternoon settles over Normandy, but the battle for France is only beginning. The German defenders, battered but unbroken, attempt to reorganize. Signals are lost, units are fragmented. Officers shout through smoke and gunfire, trying to direct men who can barely hear over the roar. At Vierville-sur-Mer, Lieutenant Schneider rallies his platoon. He yells, "Hold the line!" His voice carries over machine gun fire and screaming mortars. Men scramble into the ruins of buildings, foxholes and trenches. They patch gaps in the defenses wherever they appear. The Allies are aware of the scattered German positions and press relentlessly. Tanks move cautiously up the beaches. Artillery softens pillboxes, and infantry advances through the obstacles. German gunners fire until barrels are too hot to handle, then retreat to secondary positions. Every moment is a desperate struggle to slow the enemy. In the fields beyond the beach, paratroopers continue to disrupt communications. Roads are blocked with debris, Vehicles are abandoned in ditches and telephone lines are cut. German reinforcements already delayed are further slowed by confusion and terrain. Supply trucks are ambushed, ammunition dwindles, and the chain of command begins to fray. By mid-afternoon, counterattacks are organized. Small groups of German soldiers move from village to village, attempting to push back the invaders. Mortar fire rains down on advancing troops. Machine guns open fire from hedgerows. But the Allies' coordination and firepower blunt each assault. For every foot gained, 2 are lost. Major Pluscat moves between observation posts, his binoculars scanning the beach and cliffs. He witnesses the chaos below, soldiers pinned down in sand, tanks immobilized by mines, ships firing at extreme range.